Have you ever watched someone get completely humiliated in public only to rise up and turn the tables in the most unexpected way? Well, this isn't just a story about spilled wine or rude billionaires. It's about one young woman who stood her ground and left an entire five-star restaurant stunned. Stick around because what happened next? It's something you won't forget. The insult hit hard. Get out of here, filth. The words rang through the upscale dining room like a gunshot. Everyone stopped talking. Crystal glasses rattled, slightly as awkward silence took over. All eyes landed on the young waitress at table 12, her notepad shaking just a little. No one could have predicted what she was about to do or how it would change the mood of the room entirely. Sarah Martinez had been working at Leonard Dent for 3 years. She knew how to handle the rich, the picky, and the impossible. But tonight, something felt off from the start. Richard Blackstone had walked in with the kind of swagger only someone worth $8 billion has. Since the moment he sat down, he'd been nitpicking first the water, then the lighting. And now, this, Sarah looked down. A deep red stain spread across the man's expensive, Italian-made shoes. It had all happened so fast, yet somehow in slow motion. She had been setting down the second course carefully, exactly like she'd done hundreds of times. But then Blackstone suddenly shoved his chair back, bumping her arm. The vintage Bordeaux worth more than her rent went flying, right onto his shoes. His face turned bright red. You absolute idiot. Do you know how much these shoes cost? The tension in the room spiked. Guests shifted in their seats. Some reached for their phones, sensing a viral moment in the making. At table 8, a woman let out a sharp gasp. Even a sommelier froze mid-pour. This wasn't just a mess. It was the kind of public meltdown that can wreck a person's confidence, even their future. But Sarah didn't fold. She didn't tear up. She didn't beg. Instead, she stood up straight and looked him square in the eye, calm, composed, unshaken. You could hear a pin drop. Then she spoke. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried across the entire restaurant. Sir, I get that you're angry about your shoes. But before you call me filth again, there's something you should know. She let the silence breathe for a second. I'm a medical student at Columbia. I work 3 nights a week here to pay my tuition because I come from a family that couldn't hand me a trust fund. Blackstone opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Sarah continued, still poised, her words steady. I've served more rude guests than I can count. People who forget that those bringing them food have their own hopes and struggles. I've stayed polite through it all because I understand that money doesn't always come with decency. You could feel the chill in the air. The whole place seemed to lean in. A man at table 4 slowly lowered his phone. Even the cooks were now watching through the kitchen window. I'll pay to get your shoes cleaned. I'll even make sure they're restored professionally. But I will not accept being treated like I'm beneath you. Her tone never cracked. Professional, but powerful. And then came the line that no one in that room would forget. In 2 years, went on Dr. Martinez, I'll remember this night. And I'll remember that real class isn't measured by a price tag. You could have heard a heartbeat in that silence. Blackstone sat frozen. His face flickered through emotions, anger, embarrassment, maybe even regret. The wealthy guests suddenly found their water glasses extremely interesting. And then, out of nowhere it started. A slow clap from table 8, then another, and another. Within seconds, the whole dining room was applauding, not politely, but with full-hearted admiration. Blackstone shoved back his chair, face flushed. He dropped his napkin and stormed off, muttering something about never coming back. But, right, before he reached the door, he stopped, turned around, and in barely more than a whisper, he said, I'm sorry. Sarah gave a simple nod, not smug, not angry, just dignified. As the door shut behind him, the applause rose again, this time even louder. That night, Sarah didn't just carry plates. She served up a life lesson, one the entire room would remember, because sometimes the most powerful voice is the calm one that speaks the truth when it matters most. If this story moved you, even just a little, tap that like button. And if you believe in standing up with grace and strength, drop a karma in the comments. You never know who might need that reminder today.